What is going on, guys? It is me, Lau, back again with another reaction, a more general one this time. It is Clarkson, Hammond and May, the most offensive clips in the world. Yeah, that was a terrible Jeremy Clarkson impression, but for those of you that don't know, Top Gear, the old trio, so Clarkson, Hammond and May, were one of my biggest inspirations, humor-wise. Just their kind of dry sense of humor. I'm not necessarily, I do say, like, offensive humor sometimes, obviously when the cameras aren't rolling as much, but, obviously, but you can probably tell from, like, my dry style that a lot of my humor comes from, the old Top Gear, and just that dryness was just so funny to me, especially growing up, and like, part of me was concerned going into this because I watch a lot of these clips, these compilations, in my spare time, so it was kind of like, this wouldn't really feel like a genuine reaction when I did it, but it's something I still wanted to do nonetheless. It's something I really, really wanted to do, and I will say, this is probably gonna, this video in particular is gonna, like, show me off as a bit of a hypocrite, but I'm gonna let you guys in a secret. I'm not an easily offended person. I'm really not an easily offended person. And I know I've called out users in the past for being offensive, but the reason that is, for one user in particular, which I won't name, but you guys should know who I mean, if you've followed me for a while, it's that the fandom that person makes content for already has a negative reputation as it is. And I get, like, his channel is his own, and that kind of sense of, but part of me feels, especially considering how big he is in said fandom, that he should be, like, more of a role model, and that kind of material, some of the stuff he kind of makes, really brought in a really, really toxic fan base, and that fan base came over to my channel a bit when I started reacting to his series, and that caused me a boatload of mental health issues as a result. So, and I get, it does sound very hypocritical of me, but sometimes you just gotta look after yourself. You gotta look at your own best interest, especially when you're doing a YouTube channel. Like, I know that seems very, very cold-hearted and calculating, but sometimes you really gotta look at what's best for your own mental health and what your kind of thing. And hey, time will tell if this brings over, like, some more toxic fans, but hey, you know, this is something I've always really wanted to do. And just, yeah, like, that's kind of the best way I can explain myself for this slightly hypocritical approach. But I will say, I know I come across as quite emotional and quite exaggerative, especially when it comes to anger, when it comes during my reactions, but part of it is genuine. Like, part of it is genuine. I'm not an easily offended person, but I'm an easily wound up person. So, like, visually, people tend to get a reaction out of me, which is probably one of the reasons I was so bullied heavily in school. But, so I'm a very, very expressive person. That's a good way of putting it. A very, very expressive person. But I'm not easily offended, and I wasn't really offended by, this kind of thing, especially. Like, I will say, there was one that could be potentially offensive to someone like me. I know for a fact it's not in this compilation, but I just find it really I just find it really funny, so I'm going to mention it here. Like, where James was saying he doesn't believe in electricity, and Clarkson just responds with, "What you are seeing here is Asperger's made real." And James just responds, "Is that what makes my wee smell funny?" And, like, what I find so funny about that is that because it's the dynamic between the two. Like, Jeremy's out there just saying this completely needlessly thoughtless comment, and then James, with a genuinely curious response, is so... I'm convinced James May has autism with some of the responses he comes out with. I'm genuinely convinced. But just that energy and that dynamic that comes out, especially considering this is a way, way more general audience, so there's more leeway for more people to get offended, because literally this was like a global phenomenon when it happened. And it's just funny, okay? It's just funny. Like to quote Top Gear, we're not saying you should do that. We're just saying you can do that. So the video I have up here in question, obviously, as I mentioned, the most offensive clips in the world. Obviously, Top Gear was very much known for its off-color material, which is why I went into my little rant at the beginning. But This compilation, let's just get into this. Words can't really describe, because I have seen this before, but not for a while, so hopefully let's see if I still find this funny. Drop the video a like if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel too if you want to see more content like this, and let's go. The most offensive clips in the world.
So what news have you got then, James, this week?
Actually, I've got some news from Korea.
You can't tell, can you, that Top Gear's just been sold in Korea?
No.
Well, I don't think there's any evidence. I think we're smoothing this one out nicely.
It's not showing.
Hello, you industrious little fellows.
This one I've never got. I've never understood this one. You industrious little fellows. I've never really understood that one.
Got him on side, well done. It's not like we've ever upset anyone.
I know. Well, there was the vicar whose trio rammed in the Toyota pickup truck.
Yeah,
and
that was
everyone in Wales. And everyone in Birmingham and everyone in America. Yep. Now it's
Oh,
unlikely
no,
to be
this
here
clip.
Because everyone does 5. It's not going to be here.
Because everyone's on drugs.
That's
That's
all
all
just full of rocks.
Al Gore says that's
gone.
gone.
So it's not going to be down there. That's full of spiders. Signposts here are all full of gibberish. They're all communists. Can't go there because the Americans will shoot you.
Thank you. All right.
Don't worry, don't worry. I know it was there. I know it was there. I know I had my eyes closed, but I know it was there. I've seen this before. Okay, I've seen this before.
Sadly, though, this was also too much for the US government.
I just wanted to make sure that you guys are doing the documentary.
Oh, it is a documentary. It's not like a fooling around show. No, it's a serious show.
Jeremy's sincerity wasn't convincing, and his hand gestures didn't help either.
Why do you... Just why? That's the thing with this show. It's all just sort of just... Why? Like, why? Why?
Shut up, you goddamn Frenchy, cheese-eating surrender monkey.
Yep.
Jeremy
watching
Clarkson's
this in
also
Saudi
really good at
Arabia?
accents, by the way. Who knows? He could be a voice actor. He was in Cars, though, actually. For anybody who watched the UK version of Cars, Jeremy Clarkson was Harv, so Lightning McQueen's agent. Like, if any of you knew that, then I'm sorry, I just wasted your time with a useless fact. But you know what I mean. It's cool. It's cool. I don't know who played him in the American version, though. If anybody else knows, please say.
Break out your camel.
It's back to carpets for you.
Because I own a motorbike after that, Jeremy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a Motor Guzzi.
I didn't know you were homosexual.
Yes, absolutely. Most of my songs are about you.
Oh!
Can I just say,
What?
you look like a gay cowboy and you look like a gay terrorist.
No, you look like a terrorist.
It's the nonchalance of James's tone that always kills me every single time. It's like, no, you are a... I'm not going to repeat that, don't worry. Just because I'm watching it doesn't mean I'm going to repeat it. Like I said, we're not saying you should do that, we're just saying you can do that.
You should do a car
Oh no, this
that's
clip.
quintessentially German.
Look away,
Well, just
kids.
replace the
Look
spoons
away,
with little
kids.
sausages in
No,
clips.
no. Give it trafficators that go like that. A sat-nav that only goes to Poland. Roads have been lost for 1,000 years.
I don't think so.
I just thought it would be nice for them to arrive back in the country the way their ancestors left.
The funny thing is that it's not that it wasn't the Australians themselves that were criminals. It was just a place where the British put their criminals. So if anything, this is the British criminals returning home.
Pleasing circularity to us.
Exactly.
That is thoughtful. Why would you want a Mexican car?
no.
Because cars
I remember this because they got in some really hot water for this with the actual Mexican embassy. Because Jeremy Clarkson and James May went on the Graham Norton show around the same year this season was released. Basically, Graham was going around the audience asking the audience what they hated. And there was this Mexican woman, and it was like, "What do you hate?" Jeremy Clarkson, and so they got in some genuine hot water with a lot of things. To be fair, there were a lot of other things. Probably going to see in this compilation a lot more things that they got into hot water with, but you know what I mean.
Characteristics, don't they? So German cars are sort of very well built and ruthlessly efficient. Italian cars are a bit flamboyant and quick. Mexican cars just going to be a lazy, feckless, flatulent open.
I love how he says the Italian car's flamboyant and quick when there's actually when the defending 100 meter at the Olympics gold medalist is an Italian. I think it's an Italian. I think it was definitely in the final. It was like this big buff Italian guy that won. So I think it's very, very apt.
Leaning against a fence asleep, looking at a cactus with a blanket with a hole in the middle on as a coat.
It's interesting because they can't do food, the Mexicans, can they? Because it's all like sick with cheese on it. I mean,
Refried sick.
yeah, refried sick.
I'm sorry, but just imagine waking up and remembering you're Mexican.
That'd be brilliant.
Lucrose, if you're watching this, she's really into offensive humor. She'll love this. She will love this. I'm sending this
Go
to
straight
her.
back to sleep again. Oh,
All I'm going to do all day.
That's why we're not going to get any complaints about this, because the Mexican embassy, the ambassador's going to be sitting there with a remote control like this.
James, they die.
They won't complain.
That's another thing you do have to realize. All three of them have really, really infectious laughs. I'm not sure if it's the smoking habits they have or something, but they just have such infectious laughs. I love
job, and I'm not just saying this to win favour with lorry drivers. It's a hard job. Change gear, change gear, change gear, check your mirrors, murder a prostitute, change gear, murder, check your... That's a lot of effort in a day.
Nice little reference to the Yorkshire Ripper there. Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Is a proud moment.
Oh, no.
But there's a slope on it.
You're right. It's definitely higher on that side.
Would love to know thoughts on this. Was this scripted or not? My gut feel is that since it's Top Gear, like, it definitely probably was scripted. Also, in response to people who criticize it for being scripted, like, think of it in the same way. It's a freaking TV show, okay? We watch movies for the sake of the story. They are telling a story here, not in a conventional sense, but it's still telling a story. In fact, like, Richard, James, and Jeremy are like, obviously they are themselves. They are the presenters, but they're playing an exaggerated version of themselves in front of the telly. Like, if you watch them, obviously, if you watch them in interviews, they are definitely still those personalities, but they're slightly more nonchalant, they're slightly more honest, and obviously it's great that they are obviously themselves on camera, but there's still a sense that they're playing an exaggerated version of themselves for the sake of entertainment, which is what you need to do in this industry, certainly.
If you're thinking of coming to America, this is what it's like. You got your Comfort Inn, you got your Best Western, you got your Red Lobster where you eat. Everybody's very fat, everybody's very stupid, and everybody's very rude. It's not the holiday program, it's the truth.
I'd love to see if a holiday program actually, if a holiday program actually made had this in response to this. Inspired by this, I should say.
Let him go, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I did not know about this before it happened, and part of me kind of feel like this is a little bit too far, to be honest, because it's sort of just out of nowhere. Why? Again, it's just why, and like, obviously, because if you look at the other clips, they are actually related to what's going on in the actual thing. James mentioned something about Korea. Hello, you industrious little fellows. It's a segue. That controversy, shall we say, was just it was just out of nowhere. And to be honest, it's leaning on the offensive, especially considering I will say also, if you're offended by this content, and obviously for anybody watching, I apologize in advance. I sincerely apologize in advance.
Tallest race on earth now, the Dutch. Officially. Mind you, they do take a lot of drugs. That's why they like Top Gear so much. Hello, Dutchie.
Bentley is owned by VW.
Oh, I love this.
That car was styled by a Belgian, and it was engineered by a man called Ulrich Eichhorn.
Ulrich Eichhorn.
Doesn't sound very British.
Are you presenting Top Gear, or are you writing a letter to the Daily Telegraph?
Well, I'm just saying that you know immediately that that car is German because it's got too much power. They've overdone it, as usual, like they did on their French holiday in 1939.
James, it wasn't 1939 May, it was 1940. That's when they invaded Poland in 1939. They invaded France in 1940. Or 1941. I can't remember. I'll look it up after this. I can't be bothered, can we? Let's finish this thing.
James, the Queen is German, but
Yes.
you don't sing Deutschland,
Didn't know that.
Deutschland über alles every time she comes on the television, do you?
Well, I do, actually.
Yeah, he does.
I genuinely believe that is the thing. James is just so the kind of person to do
Nicked
that.
our airports, they've nicked all our fish, they've nicked all our building societies, they eat the heads off prawns, they throw donkeys off tower blocks, and they stab cows.
So that's Spanish.
That is the Spanish. Anybody from Spain here?
Sorry.
Give me my fish back.
I have been to Spain, actually. It's a lovely, lovely country. I know that's a bit of a weird segue, but it genuinely, in defense of Spain, it's a lovely, lovely country. Oh, no,
I
this.
changed from first to third on my pre-selection gearbox, which means technically I short-shifted. When I say short, I don't mean that. Like I'm not being rude.
You keep saying short.
Being 6'2", part of me wishes I could relate to this, but then again, I don't.
I meant I short-shifted. I didn't. I wasn't being clever.
Left turn coming up in a hairpin.
You're just telling me things you can see out the window now. You've got a cushion.
Meanwhile, back in PC world...
I don't get that joke. I'm gonna be honest. I don't get that joke. Back in PC world, I do not get that joke at all.
I didn't mean Jeremy's car was rubbish because it's a midget. I just meant that's what it is. It's
Okay,
it's
got about
an MG midget.
20
I'm
seconds
sorry.
left of this suffering.
Honestly, things I'd rather do than drive one of those include presenting next week's show while gently cupping James's scrotum.
And we're off the air in Korea.
Yeah, goodbye, industrious little fellows.
Oh, give me a minute. I'm going to have trouble shifting that vision now.
That's one way to end it. Oh dear God. Top Gear's just... Top Gear must be protected at all costs. It's such an amazing show. One that I don't think could be made today, really. Even on the internet, I don't think it could be made today, but I'm so glad it was made, man. It was my nostalgia. It was my childhood, and I know obviously very, very off-color material, very like extremely off-color material. It's funny and it's also just it's clever. Like it's ironic considering like a lot of it comes across as really kind of thoughtless like statements. Like you know they're like the term "think before you speak." But there's clearly a lot of thought turned into these insults, and they come across as like very elaborately well done and just very, very funny quips. And there's skill in being offensive here. And I understand, guys, I am coming across as a bit of a hypocrite for finding this stuff funny, but I promise you, I do not get offended easily, is the thing. And the reasons I did get, like, sort of offended at the stuff that I'm no longer associating with now is for other isolated reasons. And so you'll have to forgive me on that front. If you do find me like a bit of a hypocrite for some of the things I've laughed at in this video, then I do apologize. Like, this is just my attempt to be more general. I know I'm not... I want to have fun with my content, and I want to, like, react to something different. And, I mean, I certainly enjoyed it. I wouldn't mind doing it again, but I have a feeling you guys will like it. Because, like, obviously, generally, my audience, like, I think, obviously because of who I am as a dry kind of sense of humor kind of guy, will definitely relate to this more. So, yeah. Top Gear, just... it's an amazing time. People always think that, like, the whole thing is that it can't exist today. It was called out even back then, is what people forget. It was originally called out. So, just literally, I have no words, man. It's untouchable. But I hope you guys did enjoy this reaction, because I did. I know some of the laughter felt a bit forced, and it wasn't as genuine, since obviously I've seen this before. Thank you for joining me in my educated rewatch of Top Gear, the most offensive clips in the world. Yeah, I got that title wrong at the start, I just realized. Hopefully, you guys will tune in to more stuff that's coming this way. If you guys want more general stuff, then by all means, send me over some stuff that I might enjoy reacting to. thank you guys so much for the support on the channel lately. You guys are the absolute best. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time. So, cheerio, guys.